Hello YouTube family, welcome back to the channel Living the Newcomb Life. I'm Jerry, this is Dawn. Today what we are going to do is we are going to harvest our beets, and then we are going to get them ready to be canned, and then we are going to can them. So stand by.
So our beets have been in the ground probably way too long, but we've had a lot of family events going on and haven't been able to harvest them. They are absolutely huge. You should see these. Check this out. I am cutting all of the greens off of the beets at about 2 inches above the beet. This keeps it from bleeding too much in the water when you're boiling them. If you leave the taproot on the bottom and you cut the greens about 2 inches above the beet, it will keep it from bleeding too much into your water. I think they're about as clean as we're going to get them out here without a brush. Take them inside and get them fully cleaned and ready to go in to be boiled. Jerry washed with we have a potato brush, washed all the beets, got all of the excess dirt that we could off of them. And then what we've done is we've divided them into 3 piles. We've divided them into our small beets, our medium beets, and our extra large beets. These beets are absolutely huge. In the past years, these have been the largest beets that we have gotten. This year, they went above and beyond. So the reason that we divide these into 3 piles is that obviously it's going to take a whole lot longer for these beets to cook and get soft than it will these small beets. So what we're going to do is we figure it's probably going to take somewhere around 45 minutes for these beets to soften. And what they do is they soften to the point where you can stick a fork in them, kind of like you would do a potato. But we're not cutting these, of course, so it's the full beet. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the large beets, and then in 15 minutes we're going to add in the medium beets, and then 15 more minutes we're going to throw in these couple of small beets and do it that way. As you can see over here, our water is boiling and ready for our beets. So I'm going to sit this down here. And we're going to go ahead and drop in our beets. I'm going to try to put these really large ones in the bottom. So we put the beets, we brought them out of the boiling water, put them in a water bath of ice to cool them off quickly. And now we're going to cut the last of the greens off, and we're going to cut the taproot off. And then if you just rub them slightly, the skin will then come off. And what I find is if you hit a spot where it doesn't seem like it's wanting to come off, just run a little bit of cold water over it, and then it tends to loosen up and come off. So the whole idea is to remove all of the skin off of the beet. And if there are any bad spots, you want to remove those. But look at that beautiful beet. And then it goes over here and is ready for slicing to go in our can. So we're slicing these up to put them in our jars. A few of them are really big, so we're slicing them in half and then slicing them. But for the most part, I prefer my beets sliced, so that's what we did here. Whoop. We have a full bowl. So guys, look at this bowl of beets. It is absolutely beautiful. Our jars have been sterilized, our rings and our lids have been sterilized and they're ready to go. Now it's time to go ahead and fill our jars with our beets. We're gonna go ahead and put in the sliced beets. We want to give it some head space, so we're going to leave about an inch of head space. Okay, beautiful. Now, what we need to do is we have put some water on to boil in this pot right here. And what we need to do is pour that over our beets in our jars to fill them up. So now what I need to do is I need to use my chopstick. So I have a plastic chopstick here. We need to go down the side of the jar because when you pour and you put your vegetables or whatever you're canning in the jar, you'll get little bubbles down in the side. And this also helps the whatever you're canning to kind of settle into the jar. Little air gets trapped in there, and then the vegetable or meat or whatever you're canning doesn't tend to settle down into the juice. So we're just going to run this down the side of the jar just to release those air bubbles and get everything to settle down into the jar. Okay, we look good. So what we need to do now, because when we're filling the jars, sometimes we tend to get stuff around the rim of the jar. So we're going to take a clean rag and we're going to wipe off the rim of the jar so that the lid can get a good seal on the jar. We don't want any false seals, so that we can keep these for however long we need to keep them. Okay guys, our recipe today comes straight out of the Ball canning book. This is a lifesaver if you plan to can. There are lots of wonderful recipes in here and they tell you step by step on how to do it. So our recipe today comes right out of here, and what they are telling us to do is for every pint we need to add a half a teaspoon of salt. So I'm gonna pour this in a little bowl to make it a little bit easier to get to. And we're just gonna add this to the top of each jar. Don't we have enough there, but we'll see. So we need a half a teaspoon. Okay, so now our lids have been in this warm water all this time, and so we're just going to put our lids on here and put a ring on, and we just want to bring it down to fingertip tight. We don't want to over tighten, because if you over tighten it will cause problems with your seal. So those are our 13 jars of beets straight from our garden. We're now going to prepare the pressure cooker to can these. Okay guys, this is our Power Pressure Cooker XL. We use this thing all the time to cook dinner, but it will also can pint jars. It's much easier than using a big canner when you don't really need to break out the big canner. So I can get 5 jars in here. Let me show you. So it came with this little rack. So you sit the little rack down inside of here. You can fit 5 jars on this little rack. So we can fit 5 jars. Then what we need to do is we need to pour in our water. And we want to put in enough water that our jars are covered about a quarter of the jar. So our pressure cooker is 10 quarts, so it's pretty large. So we're gonna fill it up to about there. And I just heard a new trick that if you put a little glug of vinegar in the water, that will keep the minerals in the water from attaching to your jars, your canning jars. So I'm just gonna put just a little glug of vinegar in there. And we will go ahead and put the top on our pressure cooker. So everything is inside of our pressure cooker. We have it set on sealing. We're gonna go down here and we're gonna hit soup and stew. And really the only reason that we're doing that is so that we have the time of 30 minutes, which is what we need. So there's 30 minutes all set and ready to go. And that's all there is to it, guys. You literally just let this go until it beeps. Let the pressure cooker slow release, which means it automatically releases its own pressure, which can take, I don't know, it really depends on how much pressure and how much space is within the canner, but it can take like 15-20 minutes. And then you're all done. So what will happen is this little button back here will drop down when the pressure is gone, and we'll be ready to take our jars out of the canner. So that's all there is to it. Okay guys, so the timer went off probably about 20 minutes ago, but I was just standing here getting dinner ready and the little button back here dropped, which meant that all the pressure has been released from the pressure cooker. So that means that I am able to flip this over and you can see no steam is coming out. Otherwise it would release steam. So we're ready to open the canner and take out our first batch of canned beets. I'm gonna turn. And they are beautiful. Look at that. Okay. So our first batch of beets for this year are done. We have several more batches to do, but that is how you can your beets when you pick them from your garden, or if you go to the grocery store and get beets and can them yourself.
So it's been about 5 or 6 days since we canned these. We canned them on a Sunday and today is Thursday. So it's been 5 days and I think it's time to do a taste test.
Did someone say taste test? So one of the things I noticed is the color of the beets did lighten up from the original color they were when we picked them. But they still look amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so as you recall, we did not pickle these. These are just simply canned. And beets have that real earthy smell. But they're sweet though. They smell sweet. I like my beets with salt, so I'm going to do my taste test. One without salt, and then probably the rest with salt. You ready? All right. Oh yeah. If you
flavorful.
If you guys
Oh my
don't eat
gosh.
beets, you really need to try them. They are unbelievably flavorful. And when I say they have that earthy smell, that earthy taste, it's very minute. But when you smell it, it's the first thing that you think of is how dirt smells, right?
Kinda, yeah.
But they're surprisingly sweet. They have a sweetness to them.
And I'm not sure, I mean, for me, these don't need any salt at all. They taste fantastic.
I'm going to try it with salt. Because I put salt on my beets. Oh yeah. That is absolutely fantastic. Those are great. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Wow.
They are good.
Definitely
Very
a
flavorful.
success.
They are good though. Very, very good. I love beets.
This might be my top thing that we grow.
Beets. Yeah. I typically keep a large jar in my refrigerator of pickled beets and eggs a lot of the time. It's a great snack when you come home from work or to have with a sandwich. And it's
Are you
really
gonna eat yours?
super easy. You know, you can go ahead and eat them. We're going to dinner in a few minutes. Well, they are fantastic. You're thoroughly enjoying those beets, aren't you?
I could eat that whole jar.
I know, but we're going to dinner. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please hit the like button and hit that subscribe button so that you can see all of our videos. If you ring the bell, you'll be notified each time we upload a new video. Guys, thanks for coming along on this journey today and canning with us, and we hope to see you on the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.